My mother's nails dug into my arm like talons, her perfectly manicured fingers leaving crescent-shaped marks on my skin. She leaned in so close I could smell her expensive perfume mixed with champagne, and through gritted teeth behind her fake smile, she whispered, "Don't embarrass us tonight, Emma. For once in your pathetic, miserable life, just disappear into the background where you belong." I stood there in my $200 discount dress, watching her fuss over my younger sister Ashley's $3,000 designer gown, and I felt that familiar hollow ache spread through my chest like poison. But what I didn't know, what none of them knew, was that in exactly 43 minutes, my mother's entire world would shatter on that stage in front of 300 people. And I'd be the one holding the hammer. This is the story of the night I stopped being invisible. Let me paint you a picture of my life before everything changed. My name is Emma Richardson, and I'm 28 years old. I work as a senior financial analyst at North Point Financial Group in Charlotte, North Carolina. On paper, my life looks pretty damn successful. Master's degree in finance. Six-figure salary. Corner office with a view of the city skyline. In reality, I've spent every single day of my existence being treated like the family embarrassment. My parents, Richard and Catherine Richardson, are what you'd call old money wannabes. My father runs a moderately successful insurance agency. My mother hasn't worked a day in her life, but acts like she's royalty. They live in a nice house in a gated community, drive luxury cars they lease, and throw elaborate parties they can barely afford. Everything in their world is about appearances. And I never fit the image. My younger sister Ashley, 25, was born to be their perfect daughter. Blonde hair that catches the light just right. Blue eyes. A laugh that sounds like wind chimes. She was a cheerleader in high school, homecoming queen, sorority president in college. She married Brett Cunningham 3 years ago, a corporate lawyer with a trust fund and a jawline that belongs in a cologne ad. They live in a townhouse my parents helped them buy, and Ashley works part-time at a boutique owned by one of my mother's friends. Her entire life is a curated Instagram feed. Brunch photos. Couples vacations. Boomerang videos of champagne toasts. Then there's me. I have dark brown hair that I keep in a simple ponytail most days. Green eyes that my mother once said were too intense. I was the kid who spent lunch period in the library instead of the cafeteria. I chose math club over prom. I graduated high school as valedictorian and gave a speech to a half-empty auditorium because my parents left early to get to Ashley's volleyball tournament. I graduated summa cum laude from UNC Chapel Hill with a finance degree. My parents didn't attend the ceremony. They were at Ashley's sorority formal. I got my master's degree while working full-time. My graduation fell on the same weekend as Ashley's bachelorette party in Miami. Guess which event my family attended? Here's the thing about being the overlooked child, you eventually stop trying to be seen. I stopped sharing my accomplishments at family dinners when I was 16, after my mother interrupted my story about winning a state math competition to show everyone Ashley's new cheer uniform. I stopped inviting them to my events when I was 21 after they no-showed my college honors ceremony because Ashley had a really bad headache and needed them. I stopped expecting anything when I was 24 after I got my first major promotion and my father's only response was, "That's nice, Emma. Hey, can you lend Ashley $5,000 for her wedding dress?" I gave them the money. I always gave them the money. Because somewhere deep down, in a place I'm not proud of, I kept hoping that maybe, just maybe, if I was successful enough, helpful enough, generous enough, they'd finally see me. They never did. 6 months before the gala, everything in my career shifted into high gear. I was assigned to lead the most critical project in North Point Financial's history. Our biggest client, Meridian Industries, a manufacturing conglomerate worth $400 million, was threatening to pull their entire investment portfolio because of consistent underperformance. If we lost Meridian, North Point would lose 30% of its revenue. We'd have to lay off over 100 employees. The company might not recover. My boss, Leonard Chin, called me into his office on a rainy Monday morning. Leonard was a 53-year-old financial genius who'd built North Point from the ground up. He was normally calm, collected, unshakable. That morning, he looked terrified. "Emma," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. "I need you to save this company." Inside the folder was Meridian's portfolio, a complete disaster. High-risk investments. Poorly balanced assets. Zero hedge strategy. Whoever had managed this account before had essentially been gambling with hundreds of millions of dollars. "How long do I have?" I asked. "For months. Meridian's CEO is coming in November for a final review. If we don't turn this around, they walk. For months to restructure a $400 million portfolio." I looked Leonard in the eye. "I'll need my own team. And I'll need complete authority." Done. I walked out of that office and dove into hell. For the next 4 months, my life ceased to exist outside of North Point's walls. I assembled a team of 6 analysts, the smartest, most dedicated people in the company. We worked 16-hour days. Weekends didn't exist. Holidays were just dates on a calendar. I missed my cousin's wedding. I forgot my own birthday. I survived on coffee, takeout, and pure adrenaline. My team and I tore apart Meridian's entire portfolio and rebuilt it from scratch. We divested from volatile tech stocks and reinvested in stable blue-chip companies. We created a diversified hedge fund strategy. We implemented quarterly rebalancing protocols. My mother called me twice during those 4 months. Both times, she wanted money for Ashley's anniversary party. "Emma, we need $15,000 for the venue," she said during the first call. "Your father and I are stretched thin right now." I was on hour 14 of my workday, staring at spreadsheets until my eyes burned. "Mom, I'm in the middle of something really important." "This is important too, Emma. It's your sister's anniversary. Family comes first." I ended up wiring her $5,000 just to end the conversation. The second call came 3 weeks later. "We need another $7,000 for the catering. Ashley wants a specific menu." "Mom, I already gave you. Are you really going to be selfish about this? After everything we've done for you." I sent the money. I always sent the money. In early November, we presented our restructured portfolio to Meridian CEO, Thomas Whitmore. The conference room was silent as I walked him through 4 months of work condensed into a 90-minute presentation. Every number, every projection, every safety net we'd built into their investments. When I finished, Whitmore sat back in his chair and stared at the projection screen for what felt like an eternity. Then he smiled. "Ms. Richardson," he said, "this is the most impressive financial analysis I've seen in 20 years. My heart stopped. You've not only fixed our portfolio, you've transformed it. I'm committing Meridian to North Point for the next 10 years. And I'm doubling our investment." The room erupted. My team started crying. Leonard looked like he might pass out from relief. We'd done it. We'd saved the company. 2 days later, Leonard called me into his office again. This time, he was smiling. "Emma, you just saved this company $8 million in immediate losses and secured our future for the next decade. The board is unanimous. You're receiving the Pinnacle Achievement Award at next month's gala." I literally stopped breathing. The Pinnacle Achievement Award was legendary at North Point. It was only given out when someone did something extraordinary. The last recipient had been 7 years ago. It came with a crystal trophy, a feature in Financial Insights magazine, a $50,000 bonus, and a guaranteed fast track to vice president. "You're also getting a promotion to senior vice president," Leonard continued. "Effective January 1st. Congratulations, Emma. You've earned every bit of this." I walked out of his office in a daze. For the first time in my entire life, I felt like I mattered. That night, I called my parents. My mother answered on the 5th ring. "Mom," I said, unable to keep the excitement out of my voice. "I have incredible news. I'm receiving the Pinnacle Achievement Award at my company's annual gala." It's the highest honor at North Point, and it comes with a promotion to senior vice president and— That's nice, dear, she interrupted, her tone flat. Listen, I actually need to talk to you about something important. Ashley's anniversary party is coming up, and we need you to help with the photographer. It's $3,000, and— The excitement drained out of me like someone had pulled a plug. Mom, did you hear what I just said? Yes, an award at work. That's wonderful, Emma. Congratulations. Now, about the photographer. I hung up. I didn't slam the phone down. I didn't yell. I just pressed the red button and sat there on my couch, staring at the wall of my small apartment. And for the first time in years, I cried. Not sad tears. Angry tears. I'd just achieved the biggest success of my career, and my mother couldn't even pretend to care for 30 seconds. 3 weeks before the gala, my mother called me out of the blue. Emma, your father and I have been talking. We want to come to your work event. I nearly dropped my phone. What? The gala thing. We'd like to attend. To support you. I couldn't speak. In 20 years, my parents had never voluntarily attended anything of mine. Not my debate competitions. Not my academic award ceremonies. Not my college graduation. Nothing. Why? I finally managed to ask. Because we're your family, Emma. Her voice had that sweet, syrupy quality she used when she wanted something. We're proud of you. And we want to be there for your big night. Every instinct in my body screamed that this was wrong. That there was an ulterior motive. But that stupid, hopeful part of me, the part that still wanted my parents' approval, whispered, maybe they've changed. Maybe they finally see you. Okay, I said quietly. I'll add you to the guest list. Wonderful. Oh, and we're bringing Ashley and Brett too. It'll be a family affair. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there with a knot in my stomach, wondering what I'd just agreed to. December 8th arrived like a storm I'd been watching approach for weeks. I spent the entire day in a state of nervous energy. I got my hair done at a salon, a rare splurge. I wore a simple black dress that I'd spent $200 on, which felt extravagant for someone who usually shopped at discount stores. The dress was elegant. Understated. Classic. I looked in the mirror and for once, I felt beautiful. The gala was being held at the Rosewood Hotel's Grand Ballroom, a stunning space with crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. I arrived early to check in with the event coordinator. The ballroom was breathtaking. Round tables with gold accents and white roses. A stage with massive screens displaying the North Point logo. A champagne bar. A string quartet playing softly in the corner. My coworkers started arriving. My team surrounded me, all of us giddy with excitement. We'd worked so hard for this moment. Then my family arrived. I saw them walk through the ballroom entrance, and my heart sank. My mother wore a lavender ball gown that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Diamonds dripped from her ears and neck. Her hair was styled in elaborate curls. My father wore a custom-tailored tuxedo. Ashley floated in wearing a red dress that belonged on a Hollywood red carpet, sequined, backless, with a thigh-high slit. Brett was in a designer suit, looking bored. They looked like they were attending the Oscars. And there I was in my simple black dress. My mother's eyes found me across the room. She walked over, her heels clicking on the marble floor. Her gaze swept over me from head to toe, and her lips pressed into a thin, disappointed line. That's what you're wearing. The words hit me like ice water. Yes, I said, suddenly feeling like I was 14 years old again. What's wrong with it? Nothing, she said quickly, her smile not reaching her eyes. It's just very plain. Very you. Ashley appeared at her shoulder, looking me up and down. She giggled behind her hand. My father said nothing. He never did. Well, my mother said, her voice artificially bright, shall we find our table? We were seated at a table near the front, a courtesy extended because I was an award recipient. My coworkers were warm and welcoming, introducing themselves to my family with genuine smiles. My mother transformed instantly. She became charming, gracious, gushing about how incredibly proud she was of me. Emma has always been so driven, she told my colleague Sarah, touching her arm like they were old friends. Ever since she was a little girl, we always knew she'd do great things. I stared at her, stunned. Ashley played the perfect sister, smiling and nodding. My father made small talk about golf. They were performing, putting on a show, and everyone was buying it. Dinner was served, a three-course meal that I barely tasted. My stomach was twisted in knots. Then, as dessert was being cleared, my mother leaned over. Her smile vanished like someone had flipped a switch. Her eyes went cold. She gripped my arm under the table, her nails digging in, and leaned close to my ear. "Don't embarrass us tonight, Emma," she whispered, her voice like venom. "For once in your pathetic, miserable life, just disappear into the background where you belong. Don't make a scene. Don't draw attention. Just accept your little award, smile, and sit down." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. Ashley smirked at me across the table. She'd heard. My father sipped his wine, oblivious or indifferent, I could never tell which. I excused myself and walked to the bathroom on shaking legs. I gripped the marble sink and stared at my reflection. My makeup was perfect. My hair was styled. I looked put together. But inside, I was breaking. Why did I invite them? Why do I keep doing this to myself? A woman came out of one of the stalls, an older woman I recognized as one of the VPs. "You okay, honey?" she asked gently. I forced a smile. "Just nervous." She patted my shoulder. "You earned this. Hold your head high." I nodded, took a deep breath, and walked back to the ballroom. The lights dimmed. The string quartet stopped playing. The MC, David Park, a charismatic VP with a booming voice, took the stage. "Good evening, everyone. Welcome to North Point Financial Group's annual awards gala." Applause erupted. My mother clapped delicately, her eyes scanning the room like she was at a royal event. David went through several awards. Employee of the Quarter, Best Team Collaboration, Rising Star. Each recipient got applause, a handshake, a small trophy. Then the lights dimmed even further. A spotlight hit the stage. "Now," David said, his voice dropping to a serious tone, "we come to the most prestigious honor of the evening. The Pinnacle Achievement Award." My heart started hammering so hard I thought everyone could hear it. This award is not given lightly. It's reserved for individuals who demonstrate extraordinary leadership, innovation, and results that fundamentally change our company's trajectory. My mother sat up straighter. Her eyes were locked on the stage. This year's recipient led a project that many people thought was impossible. Our largest client was preparing to walk away, taking $400 million with them. Whispers rippled through the ballroom. This individual assembled a team, worked relentlessly for 4 months, and didn't just save the account, they transformed it. They restructured a failing portfolio into a model of financial excellence. They saved our company from potential collapse and secured our future for the next decade. Ashley leaned forward. Brett stopped looking bored. This individual sacrificed personal time, health, and comfort to deliver excellence. They worked 16-hour days, weekends, holidays, whatever it took to get the job done. My father glanced at me. For the first time all night, he actually looked at me. And as a result of their extraordinary work, they saved this company $8 million in immediate losses and generated projected returns that will benefit North Point for years to come. The room was completely silent. David paused, letting the tension build. "Ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute honor to present this year's Pinnacle Achievement Award to..." I couldn't breathe. "Emma Richardson." The ballroom exploded. 300 people rose to their feet in a standing ovation. The applause was deafening. My team was screaming and crying. Leonard was on his feet, clapping with tears in his eyes. But I wasn't looking at any of them. I was looking at my mother. Her face had gone completely white, sheet white, ghost white. Her mouth hung open in shock. The champagne glass in her hand was tilting, about to spill. My father's eyes were wide with disbelief. Ashley looked like she'd been slapped. I stood up slowly, my legs shaking. The applause grew louder. I walked toward the stage, my heart pounding in my ears, drowning out everything else. David met me at the stairs, his smile enormous. He shook my hand and placed a crystal trophy in my arms. It was heavy, beautiful, engraved with my name. The spotlight was blinding. He handed me the microphone. Emma, would you like to say a few words? I looked out at 300 faces. My entire company. My colleagues who'd supported me. My team who'd bled with me for 4 months. And my family, sitting in the third row, frozen in shock. I took a breath. Thank you, I began, my voice steadier than I'd ever heard it. This award means more to me than I can possibly express. Not just because of the recognition, but because it represents something I've spent my entire life fighting for. I paused, gathering courage. I grew up being told I wasn't enough. That I didn't shine bright enough. That I should be quieter, smaller, less visible. I could see my mother's face draining of color. I was told that my accomplishments didn't matter as much as other people's. That my hard work was just doing my job, while other people's basic participation deserved celebration. My father shifted uncomfortably. Tonight, someone I care about told me to disappear into the background. To not embarrass them by being seen. Ashley's eyes went wide. But here's what I learned through this project. Through these incredible 4 months working alongside the most talented team I've ever known. I held up the trophy. You don't earn recognition by making yourself smaller. You earn it by refusing to shrink. By working harder than anyone expects. By proving that your worth isn't determined by who sees you, but by what you achieve when no one's watching. The room was dead silent. This award isn't just mine. It belongs to my team, who sacrificed everything to save this company. It belongs to Leonard, who believed in me when others didn't. It belongs to everyone who's ever been told they're not enough and decided to prove the world wrong anyway. I looked directly at my mother. To anyone out there who's been made to feel invisible, be visible anyway. Be loud. Be proud. Be so undeniably excellent that they can't ignore you anymore. The applause started slowly, then built into a roar. People weren't just clapping. They were standing, shouting, whistling. I raised the trophy above my head. This is for every person who was ever told to disappear. Don't. The world needs to see you. The ballroom erupted. I walked off that stage with my head held higher than it had ever been in my entire life. When I returned to the table, the atmosphere had changed completely. My mother was staring at the tablecloth, her face a mask of barely controlled rage. My father looked deeply uncomfortable. Ashley was scrolling through her phone with shaking hands. Brett was suddenly very interested in his dessert fork. No one spoke as I sat down. The rest of the gala continued, more awards, speeches, music, but our table was a bubble of toxic silence. Finally, as coffee was being served, my mother turned to me. That was quite a speech, she said, her voice tight. Thank you, I said evenly. You didn't have to air family business in front of all these people. I didn't mention any names, Mom. Everyone knew what you were talking about. Did they? Or are you just upset because you recognized yourself? Her eyes flashed. You're being dramatic. Ashley scoffed loudly. Seriously, Emma. You're really milking this whole award thing, huh? I turned to her slowly. Milking what exactly, Ashley? This victim thing. Oh, poor me, nobody appreciates me. It's exhausting. You know it's exhausting? I said, my voice calm but cold. Watching you get celebrated for doing the bare minimum while I work myself to death and get told to disappear. Girls, my father said weakly. Let's not. No, Dad. I cut him off. Let's absolutely do this. Right here. Right now. My mother's hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. Emma, you're making a scene. I pulled my arm away. You told me not to embarrass you tonight. But the truth is, I've spent 28 years being embarrassed by all of you. That's enough, my mother hissed. No, it's not nearly enough. I stood up and my chair scraped loudly against the floor. People at nearby tables glanced over. I have spent my entire life trying to earn your love, your approval, your attention. And you know what I finally realized tonight? They stared at me. I already earned it. I earned it 1,000 times over. But you were never going to give it to me because you decided a long time ago that I wasn't worth it. My mother's eyes filled with tears, angry tears. How dare you? I graduated top of my class. You didn't come. I got my master's degree. You didn't come. I bought you cars, paid for Ashley's wedding expenses, gave you tens of thousands of dollars over the years. And tonight, on the biggest night of my career, you told me to disappear. My voice didn't waver, didn't break. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm disappearing from your life. Permanently. Ashley shot to her feet. You're so selfish. I'm selfish? I'm selfish. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Ashley, I paid for your honeymoon. I paid for Mom and Dad's car repairs last year. I've given this family over $50,000 in the past 3 years alone. Ashley's face went red. That's what family does. No, that's what I did. And I'm done. I picked up my trophy and my purse. My mother was crying now, real tears. But they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of humiliation. If you walk away from this table, Emma, she said, her voice shaking, don't bother coming back. I looked at her for a long moment. Goodbye, Mom. And I walked out of that ballroom with my trophy in my arms and my head held high. The next 3 days were chaos. My mother called 23 times. I let every call go to voicemail. Her voicemail started desperate. Emma, please call me back. We need to talk about this. Then they turned angry. You're being incredibly immature. You embarrassed this entire family. Then they turned manipulative. Your father is so upset. His blood pressure is through the roof. Do you want him to have a heart attack? I deleted every single one. Ashley sent a barrage of texts. You're a selfish bitch. Mom is crying because of you. I can't believe you ruined our night. Everyone at the gala was talking about what a drama queen you are. You owe Mom and Dad an apology. I blocked her number. My father sent one text. Your mother is very upset. Please call her. I replied, no. He didn't respond. My extended family started reaching out. Aunts and uncles who I barely heard from suddenly had opinions. Family is forever, Emma. You need to forgive your mother. Pride comes before a fall. I blocked them too. But here's what else happened. My inbox at work exploded with congratulatory emails. My story had spread through the company like wildfire, not the family drama part, but the speech. The message. People I'd never met sent me messages about how my words had inspired them. Leonard took me to lunch and told me I was the future of North Point. Financial Insights magazine called to schedule my interview. My $50,000 bonus hit my bank account. And for the first time in my life, I felt free. It's been 3 months since the gala. I haven't spoken to my parents. I haven't seen Ashley. In January, I was officially promoted to senior vice president. I got a corner office on the executive floor. My salary doubled. I moved out of my cramped apartment and into a beautiful condo with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. I bought new furniture. I adopted a cat. I started going to therapy. My therapist, Dr. Monica Hayes, helped me understand something crucial. I'd been seeking validation from people who were incapable of giving it. Your parents' inability to see you has nothing to do with your worth, she told me during one session. It's about their limitations, not yours. That landed like a revelation. I started building a life I was proud of. Not for Instagram. Not for anyone's approval. For me. I took a solo trip to Colorado and went hiking. I joined a book club. I started painting badly, but joyfully. I went on dates. Some were terrible. Some were nice. I wasn't looking for anything serious, just learning how to be a person who existed outside of work and family dysfunction. And then, in March, I got an email from my mother. Subject: Ashley's baby news. Emma, your sister is pregnant. We're having a family dinner next Sunday to celebrate. You're invited. I hope you'll put aside this grudge and join us. Despite everything, you're still family. Mom. I stared at the email for a long time. Part of me, that old, wounded part, felt a pang. Ashley's having a baby. I'm going to be an aunt. Maybe this is a chance to reconnect. But the stronger, healthier part of me remembered the gala. Remembered my mother's words. Remembered 28 years of being made invisible. I hit delete. I didn't owe them my presence. I didn't owe them my peace. They made their choice. And I made mine. It's been 6 months since that night now. 6 months since I stood on that stage and took my life back. My career is thriving. I'm being considered for Executive VP. I'm mentoring young analysts, especially women, and teaching them that their work speaks louder than anyone's doubt. My personal life is richer than it's ever been. I have real friends now, people who see me, support me, celebrate me. I still wonder sometimes if I made the right choice, cutting off my family. Society tells us that family is everything, that you're supposed to forgive, to make amends, to keep trying. But here's what I've learned. Some people will never see your worth, no matter how brightly you shine. Some relationships are toxic, even when they're blood. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away. I don't regret that night. I don't regret my speech. I don't regret choosing myself. Because the truth is, I spent 28 years making myself smaller to fit into their idea of who I should be. And it was never going to be enough. So if you're reading this, if you're watching this, and you see yourself in my story, if you have people in your life who make you feel invisible, worthless, not enough, let this be your permission slip. You don't owe anyone access to your success. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone a front row seat to your life if they spent years telling you to sit in the back. Step into the light. Be proud. Be loud. Be so undeniably excellent that they can't ignore you, and if they still do, that's their loss, not yours. That night on the stage, I didn't just win an award. I won my freedom. I won my self-respect. I won my life. And if you're standing in the shadow of people who refuse to see you, step into the light anyway. They'll either follow or they'll fade. Either way, you'll be just fine. Better than fine. You'll be free. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me about a time you chose yourself over people who couldn't see your worth. Subscribe for more real stories about standing up, speaking out, and refusing to shrink. Remember, your worth isn't determined by who sees you. It's determined by who you become when you finally see yourself. You've got this.